Hello and welcome to another live English lesson here on the AM Language YouTube channel with me, Richie. No, it's not a Friday afternoon. It's a Thursday afternoon. That reminds me, there won't be a lesson tomorrow. But today we are going to talk about how we can, we're going to talk about clarification, making ourselves understood, but making sure that everyone involved in the conversation understands. So this is excellent for whether it's social or business or academic, whatever it might be. Whatever it might be, this is relevant. If this is your first time here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and like the video. Make sure that you follow the live chat section as well, whether this is live, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching later. Unfortunately, due to COVID, from next week, lessons, you can expect the lessons, we're going to have to go online. So that's unfortunate. However, I encourage everybody to try and remain positive despite the problems with COVID in Malta. Irina F, good afternoon. Hello. Privyet, welcome to today's lesson. So yeah, unfortunately, okay, so things, yes, the new regulations mean that many places in Malta are going to have to close until the 11th of April, as far as I know. I am aware that the idea is that come the 11th of April, after Easter, things can then begin to open up again. However, it's important to remain positive despite the situation. So, having said that, I mean, look, this is a nice time we're getting to a time of year in Malta where the weather does begin to become very nice. So there are things to look forward to. There are plenty of things to look forward to. So yeah. Now, yesterday we had a lesson on expressing ourselves. And today we are going to look at the task of making sure that everybody has understood what has been said. It's an important technique. It's important to know how to do it. And this language is always important. It's diplomatic language as well, but it has lots of benefits to it anyway. Now, on a slightly different note, what I would like to say is thank you very much for all of you who are supporting the channel by tuning in and watching every day. And just to remind you that we have a new series. We've now come out with 6 episodes. It's a short video episode where we explain a new language point. Every week, it's a different language point, and sometimes we might throw in a topic as well. Yuli, good afternoon. Hello. I hope you're doing well. A big congratulations, by the way. I know that elementary students took their test and they all did very well. I know that many did well. So to those of you who passed the elementary test this week, well done. Congratulations. Roberto, buon pomeriggio, good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. I hope you're doing well. Just need some water. So let's get into it. Clarification. What does this mean? Well, it's clear when we talk about clarification. Okay, so that's obviously the noun. Can you clarify for us? Well, here, clarify would be the verb. Simply means make. It's kind of like when you try to things up with the idea to make things absolutely clear. So this is important language. So it has to be absolutely clear. Now, we could do it. This language is helpful in presentations, for example, if we're doing presentations. Um, Obviously, in meetings of any kind, relationships, arguments, um, talking about project ideas, you name it. This ability in English is really, really important, and the better we do it, the better. Well, the easier it is for us to communicate where we understand the other person and they understand us. Leondina says, "Hi, Richard. Sorry for being late. Not to worry, Leondina. Thank you very much for joining today." So, we're now going to have a little look at this. Okay. I'm going to try and demonstrate one or two things, but let's say two people have had a discussion. Okay. They've had a discussion about what they're going to do later, and a lot of ideas have been put out there. And now they're just trying to clarify. Okay. So let's say there's been the idea of A, going to the cinema, for example. That's always one possibility. Uh, B, going out for dinner. C, maybe doing something a little bit different, staying in. Well, not a little bit different really, but staying in and or watching a movie. D, meeting some friends for drinks. And finally, E, let's finish off with the possibility of going to a wine bar. Now, lots of ideas have been said, or F actually, a combination of some of the above. Okay, so we've got these ideas, and we're trying to sort of see, okay, what did they agree on? What have we agreed on? Well, the language would go about this. Okay, so example one, you could go about by saying, okay, so just to clarify, okay, and that's a good way to go in. We are whatever do. Okay, so your first option is okay. So just to clarify, it's important that when we say this, we emphasize the word clarify. Okay, so just to clarify, we are doing X, Y, Z. Number two, so if I have understood correctly, we are. Now, this is the second option you can go with. So, if I have understood correctly, we are. You're going in with a conditional, really. So, if I have understood correctly, we are. So, we've got two things so far. We've got it when trying to make sure that we've understood, and we're going to summarize. Okay, so to clarify. Okay, so just to clarify. Second option. So, if I have understood correctly, we are. Number three. Option number three, you've got another conditional you can go with. It's the same one. It's a zero conditional, but you're going with if I'm not mistaken. Okay, now mistaken is important. It means essentially if I'm not wrong. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, we are. If I'm not mistaken, we are. If I'm not mistaken, we are. Notice, can you hear? We are emphasizing the important word, which is the last word in each of the first chunk of language. Clarify, correctly, mistaken. Clarify, correctly, mistaken. Okay, so just to clarify, number two, so if I have understood correctly, and three, so if I'm not mistaken. So these are three really useful expressions that can help us to make sure that you and the other people understand what has been said, what has been agreed. And you go in with this. And that's what we are doing. We're looking to make sure that we've all understood. And then we need to try and summarize it carefully as well. So let's have a think. Let's go with this activity here. Okay. I'm going to relay a conversation between two people, and you guys need to tell me in which order do I use 1, 2, and 3? Which order do I use 1, 2, or 3? Okay, so which? So this is actually question number 1. Okay. Oh, question A. What is the order of the expressions 1, 2, and 3? Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is, what did the people agree on? Okay, so that's question, we got question A and we got question B. So this is going to be based off, just to remind, okay, just remind ourselves, we've got the following options: going to the cinema, going out for dinner, staying in and watching a movie, meeting some friends for drinks, going to a wine bar, and combination of some of the above. Okay, so you're now going to hear two conversations. Let's see which order of things do you hear. You know, the options down here, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so just to clarify, we are. Or so if I've understood correctly, we are. And 3, so if I'm not mistaken, we are. Okay. Now, we've got two questions at the moment. What is the order of the expressions? Question B, what did the people agree on? However, you've got recording. Well, it's not really recording, but conversation 1, conversation 2, conversation 3. Okay. Conversation 1, conversation 2, conversation 3. Okay, so for each conversation, you're going to you should hear a different expression of clarification, 1, 2, or 3, and you should hear different answers regarding A to F. Let's see how you guys do. So we've got, now unfortunately I can't actually show you a recording, so I'm going to have to do the talking. So I'm going to do slightly different voices. So right, so tonight I was thinking we could go out for dinner, we could go to the cinema, hey, we could even go to a wine bar. Sure, I mean, that sounds like a good idea. I'm not sure about the wine bar, to be honest. I feel like the cinema could be a good thing. Going out for dinner, what did you have in mind? Well, I thought maybe getting a pizza, John. Sure. Yeah, we could do pizza. Okay, then. Yeah, I mean, a pizza cinema could be a good idea. Okay, then. So, just to clarify, we are agreeing that we're going to go to the cinema and we're going to have a pizza. What order though? Let's have a pizza and then go to the cinema. Okay, so pizza, then cinema. Okay, so that was conversation 1. Conversation 2. You know what? I feel like going out tonight. I know that we've got some friends who are going to be at this bar. Would you like to join? Yeah, I'd like to meet some of the friends. That sounds like a pretty good idea. Um, what about um, what about dinner though? Well, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if we need to organise dinner. Maybe we can get something when we're out. Okay, no, I suppose so. Where are we going to meet them? Maybe we should meet them at that new wine bar. To be honest with you, I think we'll probably meet at our usual place, that local bar, and we can go from there. All right then. Well, so if I've understood correctly, we are going to meet some friends at the local bar, and then whatever happens, happens. Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Okay, and number three. Number three. Um, I was going to do another accent. I can do some accents, but it's a bit ridiculous always doing accents. I'll just do a different English accent, actually. Okay, no, I'm not going to do Geordie. Be terrible. Tell you what, I'm going to do David Beckham. I'll do David Beckham. It'll be a bit better. Okay, so so I can't. I'm sorry. We're going to have to leave out a conversation one, conversation two. I can't do it now. I'm just thinking of footballers. Um, okay, no, let's go for three. Conversation three. Okay, let's go for it. You know what? I'm just going to go with Irish. I'm just going to go with Irish. It'd be easier for me. So then, right. I'm currently at this lovely, lovely wine bar. I'm not sure if you know it, but it's called Tommy's Wine Bar. Have you heard of it? No, I haven't. I haven't heard of it at all. But I myself am feeling a little bit hungry, and I was thinking of going to get something to eat. Oh, do you now? I might join you. I haven't eaten anything all day. Oh, why don't you join me then? And you know what? We could even, after that, we could even go to the cinema. There's a new film out. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't like the cinema. Okay, then. So, if I'm not mistaken, we're, we're going to go and have dinner together. Yes, that is correct. That's exactly what we're going to do. I'm sorry about the conversation three. Terrible. I put on an Irish accent, but let's see. Let's see what if you guys were able to follow that terrible, terrible bit of listening activity where I was trying to put on different accents. What did I go with? I started off with an American accent, and then I progressed to an Australian accent. I do like doing the Australian accent, and then I finished off with an Irish accent. Probably a Northern Irish accent, to be honest with you. And each time I was talking to my English self. If I'm being totally honest, I think my English accent is probably the best accent that I can do. Anyway, conversation one, conversation two, conversation three. Um, the first conversation, they were having a discussion about what to do. There was a mention of dinner, there was a mention of the cinema, and there was a mention of pizza. So let me know about conversation one. What did they agree on? And maybe the order as well. So Roberto has come in with with conversation one. Just to clarify, plus they agreed on pizza. Agreed. They agreed because it'll be the past. They agreed on pizza. Two, if I have understood, they didn't agree that much. They eat out, but without having chosen a place. Okay. Three, if I'm not mistaken, plus something else. We'll see what you say. Okay. Leodina says A1. Okay. Conversation one went with A and B. Um, A and B, okay. Yeah, so A and B for number one. Um, I see what you've done there. For number two, you've gone with, if I've understood correctly, number two, 2A. Gosh, I'm a little bit confused by your answers here, Leondina. Okay, right. Now I think I understand. So, conversation one, question A, you're saying that it went with one, as in, okay, just to clarify, with decision B, going out for dinner. And A, going to the cinema. Okay, good. Two, okay, right. Okay, right. I think I've now understood your answers. Conversation two for question 2A and question B. Okay, now I've understood. Now I have understood. Thank you very much. Right, so let's, oh, wow, where I am in the world, it's just become very, very dark and it's raining. So, number one, okay, so if we're looking at conversation one, question A. Okay, what is the order of the expression? Well, in this case, there was only one expression, okay, which was which was expression one. And in terms of their decisions, they said that they were first going to go out for dinner, B, which was going to be a pizza, and then A, which was going to be the cinema. Okay, so well done to you guys, because I think you got that one correct. Okay, so conversation two. Um, conversation two, question A. Well, yes, this was two again. They used the expression two. What is sorry, if I understood correctly. And then the combination for question B, the answer was just one in the end, and that was that they were going to meet some friends at a bar. So that was just D. They spoke about other things, but that's the only thing they agreed on, meeting friends at some bar. And then finally, conversation three, question A, this was three. And then question B, this was simply that they were going to meet for dinner. So this is going to be B. Okay. So it looks like most of you guys got this correct. So well done. Excellent. Good stuff. Okay. And that's what clarification is. That's what clarification is. And that's why it's so useful. You can listen to it. You can hear, okay, this is how we can sort of sort out this problem. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have a conversation. And at the end of this conversation, both of you guys are going to try and clarify what we have talked about and what we agreed on. Okay. Now, like I said, you can use this for in the business sense. You can use it in a general sense, and you can use it even at school as well. So this is why it's really important. So we're now going to have a conversation, and at the end of it, we're going to try and clarify what has been said. Now, part of this is this. When trying to clarify, you're going to have to expect that you might not always get it correct. Okay, you could be wrong. But you're trying to make sure that you all understand each other. And that's the most important thing. So, so what we're going to talk about here is something topical. It's in the news at the moment. And I'm going to give you some choices, though. I'm going to give you three choices three types of conversations, and you guys can discuss. We can discuss any of these options. Okay, so the major news in this week, there are two big stories, and we can discuss about these two big stories, and we can share our thoughts. So, story one. So, story one. The Pope visited Iraq. My question, obviously, here that we can discuss is how significant is this? Significant is another word for important. Story two is Harry and Meghan. Meghan's interview with Oprah. Oprah, yeah, is are they right? And should we really care? I think that's a fair enough question. Okay, who was it with? I think it was Oprah that they had their thing with. Yes, it was Oprah. Yes, that's it. So those are the two big stories this week in the news. Story one, the Pope visited Iraq. The question here is, how significant is this? Story two, Harry and Meghan's interview with Oprah. Are they right? And should we really care? Okay, so I think those are two topical questions. What I would like to do here, because we don't always get a chance to do this is now trying to apply this correctly. Um, so we've got our three phrases that we can use to help clarify what has been said. So we need to actually try and use it in a conversation. So we're going to have a conversation. You can come out with your thoughts. I will come out with my thoughts. And what I would like you to do at the end is clarify what has been said. It needs to be a short little summary. Okay. And that's part of the technique. It's not just knowing this is the phrase I can use, but can I use it to my benefit? Can I accurately summarize what has been said? Okay, and I will do the same as well. So, story one, the Pope visited Iraq. How significant is this? I would say that I think this is very significant. Iraq has, when did the US invaded Iraq back in, well, I should say the US and Britain, back in 2003. It's now 2021. So nearly 20 years after Saddam Hussein, you have a pope going to Iraq. And in that time, if you go back 10 years ago, maybe not even 10 years ago, maybe as little as 7 or 6 years ago, there were, it was a very unstable place. You had ISIS there as well. So for a pope to be able to go to Iraq, I think this is really significant. I don't know how people will interpret it. I hope that it builds, it help rebuilds communication. It helps build trust. It helps to build. It helps the people of Iraq to live together. Obviously, it's a majority Muslim country, Sunni, I think. I don't want to get that one wrong though. And you also have Jewish communities and you have Christian communities. So with the significance is really, I think, is really important. It's a demonstration of peace. It opens up communication, and it's something that's quite interesting. So I'll share something with you guys. Well, it's a question, really. So one of the courses I'm doing is a fantastic course. It's political theology, and with this, there's the idea that do you think human beings are like wolves that need to be controlled? That we are ultimately very dangerous people, or are we social creatures? Do we want to have agreements? What you would call a covenant, an agreement. Okay. So this act, I would say, is a demonstration of trying to go with the covenant idea that we are people that want to have relationships, that want to have an understanding with open conversation, um, to build trust. So I think it's a major story there. But let me know what you think about the Pope going to Iraq. Story number 2, Harry and Meghan's interview with Oprah. Are they right, and should we really care? I think this is a difficult one because I don't think this story, personally, is news. And I'll explain why. When you are, we are currently a year on since everything was locked down because of COVID. And a lot of people have found it, COVID, very difficult. And every day there are thousands and thousands of people who die from COVID. Now, it's always around 1% of a population, but nonetheless, it's a serious problem. And you have two people here who left the royal family to go and have their private life. They wanted to have a private life. But now they've decided to go and talk to Oprah, who is a very big television personality in the United States. And they've opened, it's as if they tried to close Pandora's box, and now they've opened Pandora's box again. I don't think if you wanted, I would say that if you wanted to have a private life, you wouldn't go and do an interview with Oprah. Now, the issues that Meghan raised, well, she talked about racism, she talked about depression, she talked about suicide. So these are three important issues. However, they, even though they are important issues, has she gone about talking about these issues in the right way? And I think this is going to be quite a subjective interpretation. We all have different ideas of what is a healthy way and what isn't a healthy way. And it depends on what you think what they wanted from the actual interview as well. Should we really care? I don't know. I mean, I'm English, but I don't know. I think I'm in the middle. I don't really have strong opinions on it. I don't have strong views. But those are my views. But I've now given my opinion on these two topics. You guys come in with your opinions. Tell me in the live chat what you guys think about these two big stories of the week. And at the end of it, we'll see if we can accurately summarize and clarify what has been said. So feel free to give me your thoughts on one of these two stories, and then let me know what your thoughts are. I mean, look, there are other stories that we can also talk about this week, but I think it's always useful to go with the two biggest stories as well. I think, I don't know, I'll be intrigued, really. I don't know what people will say, especially about Harry and Meghan, because I don't know. Being English, you have maybe you grow up with the royal family, so you have what you would call an internal perspective, but it's always interesting to hear what people from other countries think about something to, the idea of a monarch or anything like that. Um, as for the Pope visiting Iraq, um, the thing about Iraq, I would say, is it'd be fantastic if one day you could travel to Iraq safely. Um, it's a really historic country. I think that's where the idea of, I think Babylon, the famous city of Babylon in the Old Testament, I think is supposed to be in Iraq. It's also got fantastic mountain ranges, but it's got such a violent it's got such a violent recently, it has such a violent history. Um, and it's always about this sort of managing, uh, in terms of the potential violence. If I go back to this, there was a German political theologian called Carl Schmitt. Okay, unfortunate. There's always a Schmidt somewhere. Schmidt. There we go. Carl Schmitt. He was a political theologian. Now, I have to say, I think he had some very unfortunate political views, let's just say. But he always came out with this phrase, fight or flight, um, meaning, do you stay and fight or do you run when it comes to politics? And it's an interesting one because I think most of the time you can see you've either got, it depends on how you express the fight, and it depends on how you express the flight. Uh, Fight doesn't always have to be physical; it could be negotiation, for example. So Roberto says that for story number one, he believes the fact the Pope visited Iraq is good news. If I have understood, the Pope has tried to create a kind of bridge between two totally different worlds, which is a good thing in his opinion. Excellent, really good stuff here. I think you summarized what you thought the purpose of the visit is meant to be. I think you've done that really well. You've got good news here, so you don't need obviously you don't need the article. Leondina says the visit of Pope Francis in Iraq is really significant in terms of relaxation between two different religious denominations. From my perspective, I think people need a relationship, but also feel free to express their own religious faith. Yeah, that's one of the biggest problems. Obviously, in a place like Iraq, religious freedom of religious expression is not necessarily guaranteed. In fact, it's quite dangerous in some cases. Um, so I think, in that sense, I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. I don't know what the reaction has been to the surrounding areas. You've got Iran. In that region, you've got Iran, you've got Syria, you've got Saudi Arabia to the south. Pakistan isn't that far away, I suppose, in that region. So you've got a lot of, there's always that potential conflict, and I think that's the key thing there. There's always that potential of conflict, and well, for those of you who might know your well, here's some more political theology for you. But Saint Augustine, a very famous saint, wrote a lot of very interesting stuff. Felt that that state, well, that a state, or states, should I say, such as the Roman Empire, but you can still translate this into today's world. States govern vice by vice. Okay, vice through vice, actually. This is the idea that it's always the threat of violence in order to control. An interesting idea that states govern vice through vice, by vice through vice, actually, should I say, by vice through vice. It's quite interesting. I'm still developing my thoughts on this. The idea that uh, if you have a state, how does a state govern? Do they govern with the fear of something? Does there have to be an enemy? Is the enemy always outside, or is sometimes the enemy inside? Um, really interesting ideas, and the United States always comes up in this because it's a very interesting place. But then when you look at what's happening in Iraq, you kind of think to yourself, okay, well, if two people are coming together, two religions coming together and seeking peace, well, if you're looking at the road of peace, maybe you are not looking at it from an aggressive point of view, but from a covenant point of view. The idea that we can have agreements, that we can live in harmony and peace with one another. That's the goal. That's the idea. Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, it works out to be a really good thing for the region of Iraq and beyond. So, guys, let's try and clarify what we have said today. I'm going to have a go as well, and you guys can do so as well. So, I'm going to go with just to clarify. Let's see. And okay. See what you guys have said. Okay, so Leon Venus has said, if I have understood correctly, many people use violence to control other people in order to get more. Nicely worded. Yes, I mean, that's more power. Yeah. I think that's a really nice way to go about it. I mean, you summarized what I was talking about in terms of political theology. Um, Looking at what Leondina and Roberto said, I've gone with, just to clarify, we agree that the Pope's visit to Iraq is a good thing. It is attempting to help bring peace in Iraq on the religious front. Just notice that I probably need to just correct a little typo there. But nicely worded, by the way, Leondina. Um, da, da, da. There we go. That's a bit better. Okay, so that's my answer. I'll give you guys just a couple more minutes to give your thoughts, your finishing thoughts on this subject. Just to clarify, if I've understood correctly, well done, good stuff. Let's see, maybe there's time for one more, and then you guys can, and then that will be that for this week. But like I said, this is it's a good opportunity to help clarify what's been said, because it's easy to get confused or lost in conversations when we've said a lot of things. Okay. Um, if you have enjoyed this lesson, and if you've enjoyed the topic of trying to bring in different topics to help the development of English, such as, what's in the news, or in the case I introduced some political theology today. Let me know. Let me know in the live comments, like the video, and feel free. You can continue the conversation with me afterwards as well, in the comments section. If you would like to know a little bit more in terms of, yes, you would like to have more, not you would like to have more topic-based YouTube live lessons, we definitely can do. There's a lot of topics we can talk about. And that way we can, because for the past year now, when I think about it, we have focused a lot on accuracy, but not always fluency. So if you would like a few more lessons whereby we start really looking at the fluency element, we can do. A big thank you to those of you who've watched today. Arena, F, thank you very much. Yuli, thank you very much for joining as well. Roberto, you too, thank you for joining, and thank you for your participation and your writing in the comment section here, live chat section. Leondina, you as well, thank you very much for participating and sharing your views as well. Really good stuff. Roberto says, I like this kind of way to express idea and clarifications. Thanks a lot. You're welcome, Roberto. You're welcome. Okay, guys, so that's it for this week. There's no lesson tomorrow, but there will be a lesson next week, lessons next week at the usual time at 3 o'clock. Theodina says it would be useful having some other conversations. Thank you very much, Richard. You're welcome. Well, I'll bear that in mind, and I'll start introducing more topic-based lessons as well. So thank you very much, guys. Take care. Have a really good weekend. See you Monday, and bye for now.